Welcome to the Be Wealthy podcast, where we bring entrepreneurs the strategies and tactics to grow your business and unlock new opportunities. Once you've achieved success, we'll teach you how to think about your money. Because wealth is about more than just cash flow. It's about freedom. Now our host, Brett Tanner.
Welcome back to the Be Wealthy podcast with Brett Tanner, where we dive into the strategies, mindsets, and real-world tactics that unlock financial freedom and true abundance. Today, I'm excited to interview Dustin Runyon, who went from down and out to building massive developments. He's got an incredible real estate team with over 100 agents, and he is absolutely crushing it. What you're going to love about Dustin is he brings absolute fire and energy to every conversation. You are going to leave this podcasting wanting to run out and run through walls. We explore his journey from really just broke to all the levels to massive success, the specific lessons he took from financial floors, how he thinks about debt. And there's just so much good here on his journey. And he really has done the deep work to have the lessons that we can all learn from. I am so excited to jump in with Dustin Runyon. Let's get going and dig in with the Be Wealthy podcast. Dustin, I want to bring you on. Dustin Runyon, I don't want to take any more time. You've got one of the biggest real estate teams in the country, 1,200 acres under development. You're a coach. I mean, you are doing it at the highest level, and I'm just excited to have you here, man. Dustin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Brett. I've had a lot of respect for you for a long time. We started out in this Phoenix world, Phoenix, Arizona, and so you've been a guy I've admired and respected for over a decade and a half plus. So honored to be on here, dude. Thanks, man.
Well, man, thanks so much for coming. It is so cool when you've met. You and I were just talking before we started. We probably met 15-ish years ago, and it's so cool for me to see you then, right? We were going back and putting the pieces together, where we meet and who was at dinner. And then I see you now. What's cool is I saw that raw energy back then, and your ability to inspire, to raise up others, and think really, really big is so rare. And your story and your journey is something everyone needs to hear, and they can learn a lot from it. So I'm grateful you're here. So I always go, Dustin, on a podcast, you're at the top of the mountain now, going to other mountains. I always like to go back to the beginning, man. I believe our story with money is shaped in the home at about 10 years old. You're at the family dinner table, money's talked about. And, I always ask a few questions of folks. So when you're at that, go back to you're 10 years old, you're at the family dinner table, money comes up. It's not that you have money, but was money scarce or abundant in the family, in the Runyon household?
It was scarce, and it was something. I love that you asked that question, right? Because it was actually it was the source of all conflict in my home. So it was the number one reason why I wanted to become successful, was because I saw what it curated inside of my home. As far as my parents, it was the topic. If there was an argument, it was 9 out of 10. It would have to do with finances or money, and it was something that it was always lack. And so yeah, there was never enough of it. It was always a source of pain and suffering. And so I remember growing up, I was like, I don't want to be in this position. So it was not something I wanted to model.
As I do these podcasts, what's so interesting is, so we didn't have money when I was little, and my dad was figuring out his business, getting it going. Hugely abundant thinker, though. He believed there was all the money in the world. We just had to figure it out. The Tanners were going to get it yet. So it's interesting how it shapes, but so much of that shapes our perspective and how we think about money later on, right? We get in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, and I believe that people have to rewind that money story and change it, right? You got to change it. So give us your journey from you're 10 years old, money's scarce, to this guy that's got 52 agents, one of the top agents in the country. You're doing development, you're doing all those things. Kind of give us the journey and the turning points there.
Yeah. So I unconsciously, and this is like coincidence or God or the universe or whatever somebody believes in. But growing up, my very first friend that I had growing up, his father invented the parasailing boat. And so they were very wealthy. And he was my best friend. I met him in elementary school. And then my next friend that I had, I lived across the street from him. He was my second best friend. His dad was the largest home builder in town. So they were wealthy. And then my third best friend, when I got into high school, he and I played baseball with, his parents owned they were the concrete plant here in town. We only have one of them, or had one of them at the time. And they did all of the grading and excavation for they were one of the largest companies in town, like 150, 200 employees. So they were well off. So I got to actually see what it was, and I wanted it. And I played the victim to it a lot with my parents growing up, just, unconscious of it. Just like, why don't we have this? And why can't I have this? And I just remember wanting it really, really bad. And then I moved to Tempe. I got into real estate at 21. I was a short sale negotiator. I didn't really know what that was. Got in 08. And I still didn't have a whole lot of money, and I was kind of not making the greatest decisions. And my buddy moves out of this really fancy apartment complex because he had to move back. And he's like, you can move in for half the price. So I moved in. My good buddy there, his parents was really wealthy. So I was just like surrounded by wealth. Or what I thought was wealth at the time. There's obviously a difference between rich and wealthy. But I got to see it, which I wasn't able to see it in my home. And so I wanted it. I was not very good with money in my 20s at any level. I started making probably 100+ grand at like 24. And then it was, 120, 140, 200, 250, and step kind of moving up. But the problem is I hadn't fixed the internal me. So I hadn't worked on the personal development side of me because my dad left at 16 and I didn't talk to him until I was 30, and kind of an abusive home life. And it was they did their best, right? It was like they did their best. I'm really grateful for my dad because he taught me what hard work is. And he was on me about, never half-ass anything. I mean, if I went and picked up the dog poop, he'd find the one poop I didn't pick up, which sucks back then, but now I look at it and it's who I am today, right? I made a lot of poor financial decisions in my 20s because I was trying to be validated. And so I bought materialistic things. I was purchasing things to try to like impress people, or at dinners, I was picking up tabs for all my friends. Also, I hadn't moved into that peer group of like people that had made it yet. So I'm still taking care of all my friends because I'm making the most amount of money.
Were you doing that, do you think, because of you're around all these people with money now, right? Like, perceived, like you said, perceived wealth. Could be real, could be, but like whether or not, but it's money that you don't currently have. Did that impact your decisions? You're like, man, I got to get the car so I look more like them. Was that kind of what was driving it?
Yes. And I look back, I'm like, why didn't everybody tell me that buying the $400 bottle of wine was stupid? Like where
Because it looked cool.
Yeah, it looked cool. Yeah.
But even today, if you go on there, and we're going to get deep in this podcast on money and ritual, and I love yours. If I go out there today and tell people the raw, hard facts of like, save money, buy your car for cash, even if it's a piece of crap, stay within your means, and later you can have it all. You'll have everything. But today we live in the world where, I hear you, Brett, I hear you, Dustin, but I want everything now, right? I want to jump to the end of the game. I don't want to do the journey and the self-work and the pain and the heart. I just want to jump to the end because my friend online is crushing it, but they don't realize that guy's nowhere, going nowhere, never going to be anywhere. But it's hard to figure out, right? So how did you figure out on that journey?
You're so right.
How did you figure out, as you're there and I want to go back, we'll get there in a minute. So go there. So you start making these changes. You're trying to be them. Okay. So take us through, go from there.
Yeah. And each leader inside an organization goes through this. The step one is you want external validation. You want everyone to tell you you're awesome and you're great and you're awesome and you're great. Then you realize that's not the path. And it's actually self-validation. Like you've actually got to become in alignment with, you got to figure out what your mission is for your life, your values, and the principles that you want to live by. And once you live by those, you earn this thing called self-validation. And so much of money is like psychology and therapy is what I've learned, at least with myself. And so there was a period of time in my 20s where I didn't file taxes for years. And so, because I'd get to the end of the year and I didn't have any money. And
So were you
this
not,
is
was it, were you not filing because you didn't have the money, or was it, I don't even know how to start. Like I don't have financial records, and it's are the things.
both.
And even if okay, so all of it. You're just saying, what's the mindset then? Just like, I'll kick the can and
Dude,
all.
there wasn't a mindset. It was, I'd never had money before. And so now I have money. Remember this. It's like, I was in a situation where earlier I was disciplined by my situation. And now all of a sudden I'm not disciplined by my situation. Like I couldn't buy things because I couldn't. See, I've learned there's a difference between being able to afford something and being able to buy something. Okay. And so now I'm able to buy these things. Massive difference. And so now I'm able to buy these things, and I'm buying them. And I'm really just like, I go back to that. I was like, what was I thinking? And the truth was I wasn't. I was just on this euphoric high.
Well, I want to go back to this point you made a minute ago, which I think people miss. Mm-hmm. You're playing for an external. I want them to look at me and say, boy, you're cool. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. As opposed to, what do I really want? The analogy I use, Dustin, I think you'll relate to it, is there's 3 levels to attainment or thinking about it. Level 1 is I want that car, right? I want the BMW. Mm-hmm. Level 2 is, I got the BMW. Level 3 is I actually know what I want, and I don't give a shit about the BMW. I want to drive a 99 Silverado because it makes me happy. By the way, I have a 99 Silverado at my cabin right now filming this. And I've got great cars these days. I've earned it. I can afford it. It's a rounding error in anything I do. But my favorite vehicle is a vehicle that I have a street value of sub $3,000. It's the only one I drive at my cabin. My kids go, I drive it into the club, and it's hilarious because people look down on it. It's so funny, their perspective. Ooh, things must be tough for Brett. And I'm like, it's just different. I have those things. They're all in my driveway or in the garage. I want to drive the truck because it makes me happy. And so I want to drive with the listeners, because you made such a great point. Quit playing for someone else's opinion that you may never see again. Mm-hmm. It's your life. You only get one shot at this, so live your life. I just want to anchor the point you make, because it's so freaking important in today's world that people are chasing something else that's not what they actually want.
It's so true, Brett, because what I learned too, the only people you impress with that kind of shit are other losers. Winners, like I have a buddy on my team. He just went and bought a Tesla and a freaking Rolex, and he's 18 years old. The only person he's going to impress with that shit is another loser. Mm-hmm. Winners aren't impressed by that. When I first met my billionaire partner, he's in this is where I've learned a lot of my money lessons from, is I met him and we became partners. And at that time I lived in a 900 square foot condo and I had 0 debt. And he looks at me, he's like, you're one of us. He was impressed that I didn't have anything.
How cool is that moment though? When you get from someone at the top of the mountain to go, Dustin, if you had the BMW, if you had the new Tesla and the Rolex, I'd have probably gone, it's not a fit. I don't know if we're aligned, man. You're on a different journey. That's cool. That's a cool moment.
It was. It really was. Yeah. And so I got about I go and I hire a tax attorney, hire an accountant, because at some point this dark cloud starts to hover over me, right? Whatever you avoid, if you don't stay disciplined, life will discipline you if you don't discipline yourself. And so got with a tax attorney, got with an accountant, went back through all the years, ended up owing like $1 million at like 28 years old.
28, you got to, how many years was it of non-filed returns?
4 years.
So you get to $1 million, the weight,
like 900.
How heavy is the weight on you at that moment?
Brett, it's all I thought about all the time. I didn't sleep at night. Like it's all I thought about all the time. 24/7. It was never not on my mind. It was just this dark cloud over me. It was awful. And it was like it's so funny because like all of that euphoric feeling, it was like I used this money as a drug, and now boom, it hit, and now I'm on the crash. Mm-hmm. And it was like, so all that good feeling, now I'm feeling all the pain of it. And so
how old are you right now? How old are you with the $1 million in tax debt, not paid? How old?
I'm about 28 years old.
Okay.
So it was 11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I then start my real estate team and oddly enough, it was like I don't know if I should have been coaching people in real estate, but I was coaching people in real estate, and I'd started my real estate team. And with one mission, it was like serve as many people as I possibly can, make a people first business, and pay this sucker off. And it took about, I want to say it took about 16 months. I moved into a condo. It was 900 square feet. I paid off all my debt. I paid off every single thing. Every dollar I made extra went to that, because the penalties and interest kill you. So those of you that have IRS debt, and if you're a realtor right now, I think 80 something percent of realtors have IRS debt of some sort. That's by the day. The interest is by the day. So if there's one thing you're going to pay off first, it's that.
Well, and to your point, it never goes away. I mean, it is the debt that chases it. You're paying it. You might negotiate some penalties and interest. You might get a little of that away, but to your point, it's snowballing and expanding.
Yep.
So you said you paid that in 16 months?
16 months. Brett, I didn't have a car. So I Ubered to work and had my girlfriend at the time, or fiance at the time, drop me off at work every single day when I started this team. And I would work from 7 days a week. I didn't go on vacation for over 3 years, except one time with an investor, and he paid for it. But I worked from 7 to 7 almost every day. I was laying on the floor with a headset, setting appointments for people on my team, modeling the behavior I wanted to see. And I just hammered. Our first year, we did 104 deals our first year, and I never sold a buyer. I never worked with a buyer or a seller. And then I was coaching. Coaching was a majority of my income at that time. Did a few flips here and there, but yeah.
So head down 7 days a week, 7 to 7. You're not going out and, like you said, no vacations.
Zero.
There's not screwing around with your buddies playing 3 days a week of golf.
Nope.
You're just in it.
Because it was like, I got to get this out. I got to get rid of this. And what's crazy, Brett, is when you focus, there's no amount of money, there's nothing I can buy that feels better than watching my account go up. And so I realized when I stopped buying this bullshit stuff, I realized how fast it actually goes up. Like, you can acquire.
What do you think your expenses were? What do you think your expenses were for that, like on a monthly basis during that 60-month period? I'm curious.
We bought a $150,000 condo. I want to say it was right under $1,000 for the mortgage on that. So that was the debt we had. Actually, my wife had bought it. This is how bad I got. My wife bought it. $150,000 was like $900 a month. She paid for my cell phone at the time too. My monthly personal expenses were maybe like $2,000 a month, right around there.
I love to, the younger folks that listen, our younger listeners, I love to think like, just imagine whatever your lifestyle is, from living way up here to go to this condo and drop your expenses to sub $2,000. Now, we can adjust that today and call it $3,000 today for the same dollars, for inflation. But how many people are willing to take that ride backwards, get to there, to then go to the next season, right? Mm-hmm. I love when I hear, dude, I was in it. Because today you hear it's the old was the 4-hour work week, but you need more work-life balance, and you're not getting enough balance. And I'm like, I don't know that that's the way. I sure haven't built my career on this massive balance, right? I'm all in on this. I'm all in on that. I'm all in with the family on a trip, and then I'm all in on the next project. And I love hearing the early stories of the sacrifice. Because one of the things I talk to my audience about all the time is life has costs. You get to choose when you pay them. Some people pay them later in life, right? They didn't. In other words, I spent 30 years making all the wrong decisions, and they show up in my mastermind at 55 years old, and they're like, well, what do I do? I'm like, well, you got to start paying the cost. Life has cost. You choose when you pay them. I chose to pay the cost very early on. I paid it at 20 years old. I didn't party. I bet you from age 20 to 30, I had 100 drinks in a decade. Like zero draw. I mean, no draw, nothing. Never supposed to, nothing. I didn't go on vacation. I worked. Now my friends are like, dude, you go out and you have fun, you party. I'm like, yeah, because I got my money right. Now I can, right? It's all good today, but there was a journey. So, all right, so you're doing this for 16 months. You're doing that. You drive the debt to zero. Now what happens?
Oh, now having that debt, Brett, was the teacher I needed. what I really needed is I needed Brett Tanner in my 20s, but it was the lesson I needed. I'm the kind of guy, man. I had to learn in my 20s. Some people learn by reading books or by, podcasts, by all those different things. I need to learn by getting a baseball bat beat over my head, right? And this debt was that. But what it did is it curated a lot of disciplines in me financially. Like, I am dialed when it comes to my accounting now. Like, I know where every penny goes now. I know because I had to in that arena at that time with my accountant and the tax attorney. And so I get out of it and I have all these crazy good habits now. And I also realize how you wake up and you're like, okay, self-validation, number one. Am I behaving in a way that I'm happy with? And if I'm happy with that, I tend to not worry about anybody else. Like, the people that care about what people have to say or think or do or whatever aren't in alignment with their mission, their vision, and their values of their own life. I only care about what people have to say when I'm not aligned. And so I come out of the money, and dude, I think I had, I don't know the exact timing, maybe 24 months later, or 18, 24 months later, I had $1 million in cash sitting in my bank. And I remember telling my coach, I'm like, I got $1 million in the bank. He's like, in your savings account? I'm like, in my savings account. Because now I had built up this machine that could pay this off. So now I'm left with a company that nets a lot of money. Because even in my real estate team now, what that taught me is I don't spend dumb. Like, if you struggle with your P&L on your real estate team, that's a self-development issue. You're in scarcity, not abundance. So, like, I cut everything out of my personal life. I also, on my team, I am really, really, really lean. I can live lean in my personal life. I can live lean in my business.
So you kept it. So when you came out of it, you kept your expenses roughly the same, but now you have none of the debt you're paying off. You've just got amazing free cash flow, and you're just saying, I'm going to plow this into savings, and I'm never going to have money be a stressor point in my life again. You got $1 million in cash in your late 20s, early 30s.
My early 30s.
You're indestructible, right? I mean, as long as you keep that there and you don't spend and you keep your expenses low, you're going to put that in treasury bills and live forever.
Yep. And luckily at that time, we had just started our development company here. And I had met a guy named Mark Lindsay, who's now one of my best friends and my mentor. And he was the one that started to teach me about money.
When did you hire the coach in that journey, though, by the way? When in the paying off the debt, was it before or after the coach?
Oh, I've had a coach the entire time. I've never not
even
had a coach.
Before. Oh, so you've had a coach minute zero. I love it. Okay.
Minute zero. Yeah. That was a business expense. So my personal expenses were like $2,000, but a business expense, I had always had a coach. Always.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Okay. So now you're going. So give us what happens next?
Yes. Now I'm rocking and rolling, and I meet this guy, Mark Lindsay, and he becomes one of our main investors because I was raising capital for our developments. I was studying money at this time too, because I'm like, all right, private equity, we're bringing in capital. I've got all these attorneys. We're really building this thing up because once you have other people's money, you've got to be really, really disciplined, right? Like crazy, crazy disciplined. So we are SEC attorneys, and we have all of our documents that we're putting together. And I meet this guy, and he ends up investing, $4.38 million with us within the first 3 weeks. And we just connected. And he has made his business money off of selling annuities. So he's one of the largest FBOs or FMOs, excuse me, in the country. And he starts to kind of teach me about this whole gig. And what I realized for me personally, everyone has their own money beliefs and whatnot, but I realized, I'm like, okay, he taught me about the floor. And he's like, what's your floor? Like, his floor is 10 million in cash. That's a zero to him. Everything else.
In his checking account or in his savings account, 10 millions, that's like we got zero.
His zero. That's his zero. And he has no debt, everything paid off. And he has a net worth of $1 billion. And then everything else he can put into investments, right? Whether that's mutual funds, annuities, whether that's a development or that's a flip, or he owns gun companies, he owns a bunch of stuff, a yacht company, whatever. But I saw the floor. I'm like, okay, so I got to create a floor. And for me, my floor, and this is just my rules that I'd set up for myself, was what makes my nervous system, because you know this, Brett, guys that are actually wealthy, they have a different freedom to themselves. A different.
They have no strap. They have zero financial stress because they've eliminated the financial stress through the floor as you're using it here. They don't wake up and go, oh, I really got to push today. They're pushing because they don't have to, right? The financial survival has long, and it's indestructible, right? They've done it in a way that it's indestructible.
You're spot on. And they really genuinely can start to live in abundance and set boundaries, not out of bitterness or not out of ruin, just like out of, nah, I'm good. Thanks. Like they just have this ease to them. Right. And so I'm like, I want that ease. Like, I'm hanging out at the country clubs. I know what these guys are my investors. I can tell the one that's stressed out and the one that's not. I can tell the one that's actually free and the one that's not. And so I have a rule of 24 months of 24 months inside of a savings account, 24 months of lifestyle and personal. So lifestyle and personal, meaning if it were to stop today for the next 24 months, I could go on the vacation I want to go on. I can spend the money I want to spend on. I can fly on the flights I want to spend. I could do whatever I want to do. And that's in cash. So
you can live your exact life today. I'll be clear. No changes. Whatever you're doing today on a personal lifestyle basis, you've got, so we call that in our world, we call it your burn rate. Like not budgeting. I think budgeting's stupid. But what I just believe that you're spending, whatever you're spending, we can always lower expenses, but whatever you're spending on a monthly basis, you're saying you have 24 months and that's the floor.
That's my floor.
I could not, we tell people get to 6 months as fast as you can. And but where I go on that is, let's say you get to 24 months and you're watching this and you go, my head hits the pillow and I've got some angst. Then we'd maybe go to 30 months, right? Try that. Now, it can't be an indefinite. You can't save forever because at some point we got to put money into investments. I had a lady come to I was teaching a workshop and she had very little monthly bills and she'd saved about $1 million in cash and she's like, I don't know if I'll ever be ready to invest. And I go, well, we got to change your thermostat, right? We got to pick a number. Yeah, that's good if you want to save to 2 million when you invest. I'm good with whatever number you want to pick, but there's got to be a measurement stick, right? Like your 24-month floor. And so I love it. So you establish this floor and now you've got money rules around making decisions.
Correct. And then for my business, it was 12 months. And there are other people do 3 to 6 months and have different rules, which is awesome. And I usually have a high risk tolerance. But what I realized is I do have a high risk tolerance with things. I don't need my nervous system to be any more rattled than it is. Like I'm pushing hard enough. Like, you know what I mean, Brett? Like I'm pushing hard enough in my business and hard enough with these developments and my team and expand all these things that I want to do. I don't need anything additional when I go home. So it's like, I always say like, I stay aligned. 2 things. I stay aligned with my money and my wife. And if I can stay aligned with my wife and my money, stay connected with her at home and have alignment with her, and I prioritize that and my money, my personal money, I'm literally, like you said, indestructible. Like, and that's not in a bitter sense, just in a like, dude, I can actually live in full abundance.
It's crazy hearing you say, so my mentor, coach, for years has been Gary Keller, right? And when you get into his world, I watched his discipline. So he doesn't, he'll throw this out there, but as I got, we're friends, right? We're close friends. He did not make any investments until he had his entire personal expenses covered by the returns. I think they were we'll use the word treasury bill for today. I think they were like some bond in Texas that was creditor protected. But imagine if you want to, like, I'm not going to invest $1 until my entire living expenses are covered by treasury bills. Like, he was just sitting there, I'm sure. And his reason was, I never wanted to make an investment or do anything that I'd ever go backwards in my life. And having that money, I think for him, it was probably, I bet the number was 10 or 20 million sitting in treasury bills. Now I'm going to go. And I just think about that as you did it. The billionaire you're working with did it. Like every success story, when I've talked to, they made it to where like, I'm not going backwards. I've been poor. I've done those things. I've made bad decisions. This is my line in the sand that I'm never going backwards from this moment. I think that's a critical moment for people listening to this to think about, what's my burn rate? What's my floor? So everyone should leave this and go establish that floor in your life, like right now. All right, this is just so good. I'm just anchoring in points because you're just throwing out so much great stuff that I got to pause you every now and then.
I'm taking I'm getting as many notes. I'm taking as many notes from you, so I appreciate it. Keep doing it. But yeah, so that became the floor. 24 months personal, 12 months with business, and then anything over that I could start investing in, or I could start moving in, and I can start doing things in. Luckily for this period of time, though, Brett, that I had to pay off this money, and I didn't really have a whole lot of money. I saw so many people make so many dumb investments and dumb, like just stupid things in business. They were gonna trick flip this to crypto that to freaking, this get rich. And so I was blessed during that time. I almost got clarity, and I did get clarity. I got clarity, and I go, I see what I don't want to go after. Like, I surrendered to the macro. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to focus on my active income. I'm going to store this away. I'll take, my calculated risks on certain things, but I want to make sure I continue to rise my active income as high as I possibly can over and over, and live insanely below my means. Like, I drive so good. I drive a Toyota Tundra. I'm not trying to brag about this stuff. Like, I do nice things. I'm at the country club, but like, we rented a house for 12 months. I want to be able to write the entire rental thing off at the whole thing. I want to be able to write the check, utilities, rental, the whole thing, one check, and I want to not feel it. So that's the difference for me between being able to buy something and afford it. I know if I can afford it if I don't feel it. Like, can I go buy the thing and not feel it? And that's really like my gauge for myself today. Because I realized
other early money rules, though. When you put those money rules, like, I want to not feel, I love that. Like, I got to write the check. I've got to have this floor. What are some of the other money rules you put in place? Because these are so good and people need to hear this. What are the other rules?
Yeah. So on my floor, so I have 24 months in my account. Once I go over that amount, okay, I can do what I call an 80-20 rule. So like, with 20% that's over that amount, I go do whatever the hell I want with it. Now, I do have to start adjusting my floor, because now once I decide, okay, we're going to go buy this second house in Flagstaff. Okay. So in order to buy the second house in Flagstaff, that adds, call it an additional $5,000 a month or whatever it is. Well, now what's $5,000 a month? I need to have an additional $120,000 inside of that savings account, because now that's the new 24 months. So that's the new rule. So before I go buy that thing, I have to have the 120 in here.
And you're doing it first. Let's make the point here. Not go buy the house in Flagstaff first, which I have to guarantee I know where you're buying it. You got to get the money in there first. See, what everyone does is that they do the reverse. I'll get it, and then I'm going to save to it, right? I'll save to there when I get there. I'm going to bet it in the future. Instead of, you pay the price in advance for the things that you want. You got to pay first. Paying first being new floor, right? New floor goes higher. This is, you and I, before we were wrapping, before we started today, I said, I want you to be this raw with money. And you're like, this is the conversation I get to have with my friends, but not, it's the conversation. It's the reason I created my mastermind, Be Wealthy, is there wasn't a group openly talking about money like this. It was in weird rooms in the back room at dinner. And that's the first thing, is like, you walk into my room, you strip financially naked, and everyone talks about money the whole time, not in a weird, like, bougie way. Dude, what are you buying? What are you investing in? What's working? What's your floor? What's your burn rate? Right? It's that conversation, and it's just so important.
I so love that you're doing this. And that's why I was so excited to get on here today, because you're right. These are the conversations that I have with like my friends at dinner. And so it's, and then I learned, like, there is no trick to getting rich. Like, you can't, like, I'm not going to cost segregate my way to wealth. I'm not going to flip trick, I mean, there is ways to do all of those things. And those things, there are people who are sophisticated enough to do specific things, but I'm not going to, like, no offense to the people that do these things, but, like, I'm not going to trickery my way to wealth. Like, I never met anyone that, like, tricked their way to it. Like, there was some disciplines, they had a set of rules, they had a set of values, they worked insanely hard, they was insanely consistent over a long period of time, they had a plan, and they just followed it. And So I'm just not a big trick guy. You had a post that you posted the other day, like a month or two ago, and you had the Be Wealthy myths.
Yeah.
And you had like the top 10 myths and you wrote that out. That was one of my favorite money posts of all time because those are the 10 things everybody chases.
Totally.
And so
it's the new shiny thing that sounds cool, right? An NFT. I'm going to pad split. They're going to come up with some new way. And you're like, it's all packaged though, does to a degree. It's around the get rich quick, right? It's not the, like, I could show anyone how to get beyond their wildest dreams wealthy. Mm-hmm. But it's going to take a minute, right? And there's going to be a lot of self-work. There's a plan. There's check-in. There's all these things, but it starts with them. But it's going to take time, right? There's going to be some delayed gratification. And everyone you know, if you're going to be the standout one, is going to think you're weird. And they're going to think you're weird for a really long time. And you got to get comfortable with that. Like, that just, my life today, people think it's the weirdest thing ever. And I'm like, I'm not playing your game. And so, not you, Dustin, just the world. I'm not playing the world's game. I'm playing Brett Tanner's game. And I always like I don't do fantasy football. I draft my own fantasy team, which is myself. I draft the same team every year. It's the only one I've got. It's Brett Tanner. And I play this. It's my team that I got to play with, right? And every year we suit it, and every year we're going to win some games.
Yeah.
Any other money habits that you got? So we got the 24 months. We're gonna add to the reserves first before we make decisions. What are the other money rituals that you put in place?
Yeah. So that's the big one. Like before I make a big purchase is like, do I have that additional 24 months? And I love that you mentioned that I do it before. And that wasn't something consciously like, here's the rule before we buy it. But the other thing is I know I've done it wrong so much, Brett, that I know how I'm going to feel after I do it.
Okay.
So I'm very conscious of that. Like, okay, I really want this new set of golf clubs. It's like, is a couple grand that much of an issue? Will I ever feel it? No. But do I really friggin' need it? No. I just got these ones 6 months ago, and they're not going to make me golf any better. And so it's like, do I really need another Rolex? It's like, I got to. It's like, so those types of things of like the things that make me happy today when it comes to money, at least for me, are experiences. And then also like what makes me happy today too is spending money on like my friends and experiences and bringing people with me. And so, like you're at your cabin right now. Like I love going and spending time with my cabin, inviting my friends up for the weekend. And I mean, I'm 39 now. So, and I still have some wealth goals and I still have some things that I've set up, and my big investments are all in my developments. Cause, I do have a money rule. I only invest in what I know.
I love this.
I have a buddy that, I reached out to him, and he owns like about 10 dealerships in my area. He's one of my best friends. I reached out to him to invest in one of our developments, and I pitch him, and he goes, "You know what, Dustin? I love it. I think it's a great deal." And he had his finance guy on. He goes, "But you know what? I went home the other day. He's like, I'm just going to buy another dealership." And I'm like, okay. And he's like, "It's just what I know, man. I don't know real estate." Right. He's like, I know. And it was like this moment where it clicked. It's like, oh, that's weird. Everything I've invested in that I didn't really know, I've lost money on. And and I always have to be long-term. So if it's ever a quick money thing, a quick flip thing, I mean, I'll do a flip here and there, but I don't do much of those anymore. Our developments are long-term. I have to know it. I stick to real estate. I believe like really the only passive incomes really truly are like index funds, mutual funds, like treasury bonds, stuff like that. Like I don't believe owning 100 rentals is passive income. It's very active.
I could tell you this. I got to 100 and my goal was to get to 1,000 single family rentals. That was one of my original goals. And I got to about 120 at the peak. And that would have been 3 years ago. And among other investments. And I realized, to your point, they're anything but they're passive-ish, right? Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being it's totally passive. You ever talk about it. Mutual fund, you put the money into it. 1 being it's not passive at all. Like I think rentals are like a 5, right? They're passive for a minute, but then they got a problem. But they don't scale well. I mean, we had property managers. I got people on my team. But for me, right, what made it more passive is I took all those investments and rolled it up to triple net commercial. So I spent the last 2 years buying 2 Starbucks, a Denny's, an AT&T building in different markets Things that are fully absolute triple net, the tenant pays all the costs, there's management, I don't even hear or think about it. I read a statement, go, yeah, cool, it's going. To your point, I love though, invest in what you know. If you know real estate, if you're a dentist watching this, your first investment, it might be buying the equipment your business needs and putting it into your business. Right? People look externally, like, I'm going to put it in the stock market. I'm like, why are you putting in the stock market? You're paying $8,000 a month on a lease on that machine. Quit leasing the damn machine, own it, and then grow your business. The best investment is in your business, then go find other dentists that need that same machine and go finance it for them. Because you know dentistry and the machine.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Brett. Why is that important to invest back into your business before you invest back into your lifestyle?
Because that's how you're going to grow. Your business needs fuel, and it's going to need cash to go grow it. And cash, putting it back into the business, is the fuel that will grow your business, which would allow you to grow your lifestyle if you wanted to. But your business is the fuel for everything else. Your active income, and you've nailed this. I filmed a podcast earlier, and it was all about active income, which is so important, right? The first goal should be drive my active income to move. Second goal will be, how do I replace my active income if I want to replace it? And you do that through investing in yourself, investing in things you know, development. And as that development creates more and more cash, you're going to park it into the next thing that's investing back into your business and back into what you're doing.
Yeah. And so many people want to remove active income too quick off of like investing in 2 freaking rentals. They go and buy 2 or 3 rentals and they have 5% down on them. And they're like, all right, I'm good now. It's like, you've got to keep, at least for me, like I've always been focused on keep that active income is like my net. Like, and it's like, I haven't had a better return on anything than my business. And so like, that's why I was willing to put money back into my business, put it in obviously into my developments. And then I put it into mutual funds too, and index funds and things like that. But yeah, people want to escape the active income thing way too quick, at least from my experience and what I've.
Well, and the way they should approach it is they should be, if they wanted to slow down in their active income, it should be because their passive income exceeded it at such a level that they go, I don't want to do these 5 things I was doing anymore. They don't give me energy. They don't bring me joy. I want to do this other thing that maybe doesn't pay as well, but and it's a choice. My passive income's so high now that I can just do what I want. I do want to ask you about, because I think you have a rule here. What's your rule on debt? You know, when you were making these rules.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm sure you've got some, and I definitely have some. What are your rules around debt? And it could be debt on a car, debt on an asset, debt in general.
So I'm typically no debt. So I'm not going to say that I'm not. Here's the thing about debt that I learned is like every dollar that was coming in was already spent. And so, and I learned this heavily on the tax thing, right? And then, and you start paying attention to things like, and I'm going to say it, I wanted your opinion on this too. I sit down with my Mark, my mentor now and my partner. He goes, you know, have you ever looked at an amortization schedule on a home? And I'm like, no. He's like, you know, if you look at today on what is it? I think a $500,000 home. I want to think if I'm saying this right. On a $500,000 home in 10 years, you would have paid $311,000 in interest. Right. So like, sometimes people are like, should I buy or should I rent? I'm like, how long are you going to live in the house? You know, so these are like important things. So I'm a no debt guy right now. Like I have one debt. I do own, and it's on a commercial property in the heart of my town on the corner lot. I paid 1.1 million for it. And I 50% of it is I have a loan on. With that being said, go back to my rule. I think the loan is like $5 or $6 grand a month. Okay. Inside of my business account of the 12 months, do I have an additional, I believe what was that? $72,000.
It's 12 months.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
12 months of it. So I have to increase that 12 months and then I can put the an additional down payment on that. And then can I buy it? There's my back to my rules of the principles of the original. So
I love it. So what's funny about amortization schedules where what people do is they don't realize you pay almost nothing down in the first 5 or 7 years, right? And then what do people do on year 7? either move or refinance it and start the AM schedule again back over here. But they don't, you said, do people actually know how amortization schedules work? No, they don't. I own a tremendous amount of debt of others, right? I seller finance, I lend to others, I have my banking license. And people do not understand how debt works. My rules around debt is I only allow a certain percentage of my net worth. So today, my total debt is less than 10% of my net worth. And good. I'm willing to go up to 30. It's just as I had cash in businesses that started super achieving, I took that excess cash and just drove down debt. It was a great place I could go get any debt that I had that was higher than, and I would tell you of the debt I have, the 10% of my net worth or less, the blended interest rate on all of it sub 4%. So if I had 2021 hit, this story's interesting. 2021 hit, mortgage rates, 30-year mortgage rates for investment properties hit an all-time low. Okay, coming out of COVID, a bank in Arizona came out with a 30-year fixed mortgage. You had to pay some points to get this at 3.5%. 30-year fixed mortgage. I took any mortgage that I had, I refinanced all of them at that point to 3.5% 30-year fixed debt. So a bulk of that 10% is just, I'm like, it's hard for me to justify paying it off when treasury bills pay 4, right? So it's illogical. I'll just shove in a treasury bill and take the 4 and not pay the tax on that to do it. So it's just fascinating though when you think, so I have rules around debt. Other rules of mine, cars never. Any car I buy, it's wire transfer, right? So if you're watching this and you can't send the wire or write a check for the car, it's because you're buying too much car. Go drive a piece of grass until you can do that. When you're buying a house, if you're paying PMI, and this is maybe too aggressive, but it's a tax on poor people, right? Property mortgage insurance is a tax because you didn't have the 20% down, right? That's why it's a tax. It doesn't go away. So my real estate thing is minimum 30% down, minimum. Like that's and usually I'm more like the 50, just because I want, to your point, I want low risk. I optimize for the lowest risk, not the highest return. Yeah, and I think that people look at me and they'll go, "Oh, Brett, you're so risky." And I go, "Risky in what? I'll start a business tomorrow because I understand the game, right? But I'm going to do it in a way that I write a check until it's profitable. I understand the reserves." When they look and they get behind the curtain, they go, "Holy cow, you're the least risky person I know." I go, "Oh no, I take no risk." I mean, when I lend money to someone, yes, I'm taking a risk, but it's almost guaranteed. I'm betting on an asset I know in my market better than anyone, probably better than the person flipping the house. And I'm lending them money that if they don't pay, I'll take it back and make great money. Every foreclosure I've had, I take it back, I've made money. And so I just love that you and I are on the same page of, you got to get real. Debt is a problem, right? It creates more risk, and you need to understand it's a tool, but it can also harm you, right? It can really, more people get harmed by being over leveraged than anything else. And you can do it without tremendous debt. And so I love that you're saying that.
And people don't realize, Brett, and you know this, they don't realize how much they've normalized this inside of their nervous system. Like they've normalized this, like owing people money like their whole life. And they don't realize once you pay all of that off, you have a freedom that most people will never experience. Like this sense of like it's just a feeling that so few people have.
When you remove the money stress in your life, to your point, I don't think you'll realize how free you can be. Yeah. Until you do it.
I always say I suck at being broke. I'm a better person when I live by these principles. I'm a better husband. I'm a better friend. I'm a better leader. I can lead out of love instead of fear. I can lead out of abundance instead of scarcity. I've set myself up in a position to where I can actually be the best version of myself. You can do that prior to having the money, but I love what you said.
But it's hard, right? It's hard to be your best self when in the back of your mind you're at the meeting going, "Oh my gosh, the IRS thing is." Yeah. Right. So I'll give you an example. I coach people, right, like you do. And at one point I was coaching 4 of the top 10 real estate agents in the country. I've coached some of the top lenders in the country, business people. And I had this client, and he was going to make a big investment. Okay. And it was beyond his means at the time. And so I said, "Hey, I don't think you should do it, actually. Not because it's not a great investment. You just don't have the capital today." And I said, "You're going to put too much pressure on your money." And so he did it. and got forward about 6 months. The things that I thought would happen happened. And now, Dustin, what's crazy, he was starting to make terrible decisions. Because there was pressure on his money, it's like, well, I'm going to sell this now. I'm going to fire sell that. I go, whoa, dude. Do you see? Now, first of all, I'm going to show you how we get out of all this. But do you see what happened? You were on the path to be ridiculously wealthy and have total freedom. You invested beyond your means. It was an investment. So this wasn't like a car or crap. But his mindset, the freedom, he lost all of his freedom. And so instantly he went to scarcity, started making terrible decisions, and he was going to go down the road and unraveling everything he created. And I think it's so important that, like, when you don't have the reserves, the structure, money rules, you haven't done the deep self-work, you can make bad decisions. And that's where it's putting pressure on your money that causes a problem. So instead of saying, I want to do that deal, better response would have been, okay, I can't do this deal today, but I'm going to go back to my business, crank my active income up, get the money set aside. So when this opportunity comes next time, it's not going to put stress and pressure in my life. Radically different way to experience it. And you land at the destination much better. There are the folks, sure, that have went to the blackjack table every day, gambled in business, bet everything every day, and they become ridiculous. There are some. I would argue they're few and far between where luck was more of a part of it. When I look at my life, I want to remove luck from the equation, right? I've been very blessed. I've been very lucky. I just can't control luck. I don't get to pick when it comes. So I want to make sure that I win in all of the cases, all the things that I'm doing where luck doesn't have to be one of the things that I have to have.
And it's so funny, Brett, is those are the stories that get the most play. The stories where someone went all in, tripled down on this, quadrupled down on this, sold this. It's like, even if you ask my buddy who's very well off, he'd say, man, it's so much luck and timing. He's like, what's crazy is anybody could be probably worth 50 to 100 million. But the guys where you hear the stories of billions of dollars because of this luck and a crypto thing here, and they started this business and sold it for $1 billion. It's like so much of it is timing and luck. I'm the same way. I don't want to bank on luck at any level. At any level. If luck shows up, great. That's awesome. But I don't want my plan, even with our developments, when we look at our development plans, I don't want there to ever have to be luck involved in anything that we're doing. Right? I don't get any debt on any of our land deals. So when we buy a property, we raise 100% of the equity and we purchase it. So the worst thing that happens is we wait 10 years. So it's
so good and so rare today to hear that.
And because all my friends that are in developments that I used to, their shit's in receivership right now. So it's like they're getting 50% debt because they're going to make an additional 12% on the deal. I'm like, I'll make less on the deal, but my investors are going to be happier with me. I'm going to create a good relationship with them. And I have this thing. I don't justify deals. So if it's not a home run, I'm out. And that's on anything that I look at, because I want to know that I have a third base, a second base, and a first base. Right? People take base hits and treat them like they're grand slams. And that's why, dude, one more base and you struck out. And so those are some of the principles that we have.
It's so good. I want to move to today, and I want you to tell me what's a day in the life for Dustin look like. So I know you're high energy. Give me a feel for what's the work look like? What's the day? Yeah. How much time are you putting in each day? Because we're back to the work-life balance and don't work too hard. And Dustin, why do you work so hard, man? Are you okay? Talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, I work a lot. So, and I love it. So, I probably work 6 days a week. Not probably. I work 6 days a week every week. Every now and again, I'll take the 2 days with my wife, but at least one day, full day with my wife. But Mondays, I'm in the office every single day. My morning routine is I wake up, I go get on the bike, I go in the shower, I get ready, I kiss my wife on the forehead, and I get to work. So I come into the office. I'm here about 7 every single day. When it comes to my team, I hammer out my emails and kind of plan for the day for about an hour. I have a team meeting in the morning, every morning, Monday through Friday. I run that team meeting, and then I coach one-on-one with my top 20%. And that's really all I do with my real estate team. And then push the vision. I'm out creating opportunities for my real estate team. And then I'm spending the rest of the day inside of our development company and then coaching top entrepreneurs. So for instance, I mean, I got my calendar here today. Whoops. Yeah. So it's like team meeting. I have a coaching client. I have another client or another Cody who's on my team, meet with him. And then I'm usually development from like 1 o'clock on till about 7 every day. So I'm usually like 7 to 6, 7 to 7 every day, Monday through Saturday, definitely Monday through Friday. And I'm in it, but I love it.
Well, you can feel the passion. So my question would be I'm sure you get the question, Dustin,
Yeah.
You made it. You got money in the bank. You got 24 months. You got the cabin. You got the things. Why are you still working the 60 hours? Why? What do you say to him?
Great question. And I hope people hear this. I don't do this to get. This is who I am. I become. And so you see this with guys where, and I know you, because if you're at the country club too, you see this with guys where they do it to get, they sell the company, they get the 50 million, and they did it to get it. And now that they have it, they lose themselves again. And so they start drinking every single day. They start eating like crazy. They get a giant beer gut. Their relationship at home goes away. They're married for 30 years and all of a sudden they're getting a divorce. And it's like, it's who I am. This isn't what I do. Like, I am disciplined. I am hungry. I am driven in all things. Whether we're playing golf, man, I'm trying to take your head off. I love you.
Yeah.
And I respect you, but I'm trying to win. I want to win. And so too many people do it to get. And that's why you see so many people slow down. Now, there's slow down a little bit once you get some money, right? But you see some people, once they get it, they just stop. And those are the people that did it to get. And I'm doing this to become.
It is so good. Don't do it to get, do it to become. So my mission statement for my life, we've borrowed it for the companies, but when I started out working, I looked at different people, like, what are the activities that give me joy that I want to do forever? Like, what can I do forever? And I had this business coach that was coaching in his 70s, and he's become this crazy successful entrepreneur, and he was probably coaching 40 hours a week, but he loved it. Like, it was like, so he did that forever. I was like, I can coach I love coaching, right? I love investing capital. I love deals. I love managing money. So that was kind of the framework of like, okay, I could do those things forever and I could do them really, really well. I come back to like, I wanted the freedom of the work I did. Like, what do I get to do? I wanted freedom of how I do it, where I did it, and who I got to do it with. That's what drove my life. I want really the freedom of choice, right? So like our whole anthem at Be Wealthy is we want to help people get free. And in freedom, like everyone that's listening to this, their definition of freedom can be different than mine. That's okay. Just define what freedom is for you. And what you said is, dude, I'm loving what I'm doing. Like, for me, what I do doesn't feel like work. Yeah. Right? And there's a context of what you're doing, that you and I are doing this, and we could call this work. This isn't work for me. I love, right, my place in life today. I think, I get the most joy from lighting up entrepreneurs and lighting up people that want to improve their lives. And I love being at the front of the room, helping people change their behavior and their decisions to make radically different outcomes in their lives. And so that, to me, doesn't feel like work. I'm not checking the clock going, ooh. So I lived at my cabin the entire summer, from the day my kids got out of school to the day they went back. My kids were, and they're at they're doing all the things, and we're playing golf, but when they're out doing something else, sometimes I just want to go work. So I actually work more at the cabin, but I also have more play because I'm doing it in the way that I want, instead of being bound by rules that society tells me I need to play by. And so it's just, I think for you and I, it's funny. I probably work 60 plus hours a week to this day. And I've never looked at it and went, oh, I need to knock off today. I mean, when I want to go somewhere, I go. I just spent a week in Belize at my house in Belize with my son, my youngest, just spear fishing lobster. We speared lobster.
Hell yeah.
Like, I mean, if I say that, like, my son speared 45 lobsters it's just, that's our thing, right? We went to the jungle and explored here, and we hiking on this. And my play thing, where do I invest my money? I invested in experiences with people I love.
Yeah.
I get the highest return on that. The second highest return I get is little things that improve my life. Not big things. Like, this is a dumb one. I think you might even know the guy. He started a business called Can Monkey. They wheel the trash cans out to the street, right? Mm-hmm. And then they use like kind of like an Uber type app. Neighborhood kids come and do it. And it's like, I don't know, let's call it $50 a month or whatever it is. My issue is when we forget to do that, or I forget or whatever, the trash, and now it's overpiled. For $50 a month, I got to tell you how much joy it brings me that every time that I throw a trash in there, it's empty. It's just, it's an investment that I made that improved my life, right? And I have all of the leverage things to me are the things that improve my life the most. So my best investments, experience with people I love, and things that improve my life just on a granular level.
We are identical. So the biggest thing that I found in wealthy people and observing them like yourself, because I pay attention, right? Like I know what freaking shirt you were wearing the first time I met you. So it's like, I'm very conscious and I really watch these things, but wealthy people buy convenience and time. And so they don't buy things. And if they do buy things, it's a small percentage. So I think in percentages, like, because my buddy goes and buys a $900,000 car. He goes, you got to realize that's like that's like 1% of what I have. And so, whereas most people go and buy a $50,000 car, it is 50% of what they make that year. And so I think in percentages a lot. But anyways, because that was another principle I forgot to share, was thinking in percentages before you purchase certain things. But they buy convenience and time. And so I've got a house cleaner. I've got another cleaner at the other place. I've got someone who comes and picks up the car. I don't do anything errand wise. I don't do the errands. We order all the food to the house. There's just, everything's on auto, whatever. I don't do it. I don't pick up the dog poop. We got someone who picks up the dog poop. People take pride in things that have zero or no ROI. It's like, if you were to go,
it is something they take pride in things that have zero. It is so good, right? That's such a great statement.
Yeah. People are like, oh, I got this thing I'm going to do this weekend. I got this project. I'm like, cool. Well, if you just paid someone to do that project, you go hang out with your kids. Or if you actually went to the office and did the thing for 4 hours that you keep avoiding, you could pay someone to do that. So then you have more freedom and you can maybe take your kid to Belize and go spearfishing. They don't get it. They use these things as a way to avoid.
I have this joke that I say, someone has to do the thing. Right. So what are real estate or business people like? What's the conversation like today? It sounds like this. I'm going to hire someone to generate the lead. Then I'm going to hire someone to convert it. I'm going to hire someone to show it. And then I'm going to hire someone to write the contract. And then I'm going to hire someone to close it. And then it's going to close. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Because when you have all those things, it'll make no money. Spoiler alert. And right. It's like, but the thing, right, in most businesses is this isn't a coiled up cobra in the conga, it's a phone, and you pick it up. And the thing the thing is the work, right? We cut out all the bullshit. Someone's got to do the thing. The guy will remain nameless, but he flew me in to help consult on his business. And we go to the board and Dustin, he draws out, here's where I'm going, and here's what we're doing. So this person does this, and then some person does this, and then we go over here, and then we do this. And it was the most complicated business plan. And so he presented for an hour, and I said, dude, I think this is going to be a quick meeting. I can help you. I took his whole whiteboard, and I just ripped it apart. I threw it in the trash. I said, what if we just cut out steps 1 through 33, and you did the thing? What if you did it? And he's like, yes. Boom. I'm like, yeah. You get leverage by being so good at the thing, right?
Yes.
Back in the day, the way I got to be the number 9 agent in the country, 3 in my firm, wasn't by all the crap you hear online. It was literally, I was doing this 3 hours a day, headset in.
So good.
And as I became successful, I would get people in there. I'm like, I don't really know how to coach and train you, so just sit right here. And then I didn't, back then I didn't think about script. I'm saying this, just say it, the same thing I'm saying to them. And I would, in real time, on the next, dude, you didn't say it. Just say it like this. And and then I got 3 people doing that. And then I had 4 people doing it. Well, then my job became making sure that they were doing the thing. Like you said, I was out creating more opportunity. But make no mistake, at any moment, I could jump back in and get on the phone, and I know how to do the actual thing. So in everyone's business, you got to do the thing.
Got it. This is it's so spot on. It's like, the Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, I think of this, I ask myself this, what's the one thing that if I did it, I wouldn't have to do anything else I don't want to do? And it's usually the thing, in development, it was funny because under my team, it was making calls, right? Lead gen. And then once I grew to the leader, it was recruit. But there isn't a problem inside my...
didn't change. It was still picking up the phone.
Yes.
Now I'm not selling buyers. Now I'm selling people, right? I'm recruiting people.
Everything that I have in my life that people want came from picking this thing up. Everything. Because then it was recruiting. Okay, there isn't a problem my real estate business has that recruiting won't solve. Recruit. Now I hire a recruiter and I say, here, do what I do. She recruits. Then I open the development company, and we thought we were a development company. No, we're a fundraising company. Guess what you do with a fundraising company? You pick up the phone and yep.
So now this is the thing.
Back to the thing. And so what do I do today? I raise capital. I'm back to the thing. It's the exact same. And if I raise capital, if I have the right deal and I raise capital, it makes everything else easier, or I don't even have to do it. So it's so funny. You're so true, or you're so right on that. Another thing that you said that I really liked, which is like, you want to get to a point to where you're doing things that you love to do and you like to do, and it doesn't feel like work. Here's what I believe success is for me. And I felt this, and I know you felt this. You get paid for being yourself. Like, I just get paid to be me. Like, you get to a point, you save enough money away, you put enough money away. I do this for 10 hours a day. You know, I coach for 10 hours a day. I love meeting with investors and putting the deal. I love putting deals together, man. It's so fun. Similar to you, I'm sure. So that's when I think you've hit like the real success, is just like, I just am myself.
But you're yourself, let's be clear, because you're world-class at doing the thing. You've learned to love doing the thing. So, you know, I shared this once before. My early mentor in real estate, the sales business, was Russell Shaw, right? And as you know, that guy altered my entire career. I would give him so much credit for my career. Early on, so the story was, I saw him speak. My first year as a licensed agent, I'm rookie of the year, doing those things. I see him, and it was Bill Ryan, they were on a panel, and I saw Russell speak. He was the #1 agent, you know, was just dominant. And I was like, I got to sit down with him. I mean, I'm 25 years old, just had a good year in real estate. I don't really know anything about real estate. I'm a hustler, right? And I was like, I got to sit down with him. So I mailed him a check for $500 and a letter that said, the only difference between who we are 5 years from now are the books we read and the people we meet. I believe you would be one of those people who could change my life. And I couldn't pay for an hour of your time. So here's $500 to charity of your choice. Send it wherever you want. Send it FedEx overnight, signature required. Gave him my phone number. Next day, phone rings. Brett Tanner, Russell Shaw. I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to give you 1 hour. Meet me at Houston's tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Don't be late. So, you got it. I show up and we sit down, and his first thing he says, I got good news for you. People that sit down with me, they make more money. I don't know why that is. You have a notepad? Open it. And he just drilled me, like, write this down. And I was like, whoa, right? I mean, it was the wildest thing. I mean, let me see your pre-listing packet. He goes, I was like, well, Russ, before we get started, can I talk to you a little bit? I don't know that I'm that passionate about real estate. You know, I'm having success, and he goes, yeah, it's because you're shitty at it. You're not world-class. He goes, you know what, finding your passion, he goes, it's total bullshit. Become world-class at something, and you'll find you love it.
Yeah, it's so good.
I look at every area of my life, like when I was not good at golf, no passion. Today, I'm winding my handicap, you know, my handicap's going down, you know, I'm a single digit, and I'm more passionate than I was when I was less good, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, when I'm hearing you do that, like, you're so passionate about because you're great at it. And so people that are watching this, you gotta go through the process of doing the thing, work on your skills, read the books, get around people like Dustin, get in the right room to get good at it. And then you're going to find like, dude, I got passion for the things that I didn't want to do before. And I just think that's an important, you know, like if I would have followed my passion, I don't know, like none of my things that I was really passionate about at 20 years old, I think would have led anywhere. You know, like I was passionate about screwing around. I was passionate about a lot of things that were goofy. Going to the lake, right? I was extremely passionate about going to the lake. That wasn't going to lead me anywhere. So I think it's just getting clear on, you know, on what really creates passion.
I hope people realize that you're from Phoenix, Arizona, all the legends that you just mentioned, the Bill Ryan, Russell Shaw, Houston's over in Scottsdale. Like this is like, that brings back all the memories of like those. I was at Bill Ryan's office doing short sale negotiating at like 22. So, and Russell Shaw, amazing. And it's so good. I remember a story that Russell Shaw told too, which I thought was really good, which is he had smoked cigarettes for like 20 years. And he said, he goes, I quit smoking cigarettes. Was it hard? Oh, it was the easiest thing I've ever done. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I just quit that day. Never touched a cigarette ever again. He goes, what was hard was making the decision. Once I made the decision, done. Just took me 22 years to make the decision. So when it comes to wealth and things like that, it's like once I made the decision, when I sat down with the tax attorney and I sat down with the accountant and I sat down, once I made the decision, this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to do. Guys, it's not overtly complicated. It's actually, and I don't want to say it's easy, but it just takes some emotional regulation is really what it is. It takes a little bit of personal development and some rules and principles to follow. And make sure you're getting those rules and principles from people like a Brett, someone who is already there. I can't tell you how many times I got the wrong principles, I got the wrong disciplines, and I got the wrong advice from the wrong people that I thought were wealthy that weren't. Those are the people letting me buy $100 or $1,000 dinners. Those are the people telling me how great my new car is when it wasn't. Like these are the people that were pumping me up about me making poor choices. And so that's why it's important. Like, don't only get in rooms, but get in rooms with guys like a Brett. And if you can't do it, you do what you did with Russell Shaw. And this is what's funny is I would tell you, there hasn't been a person where I've asked for their time and offered money. I called a bunch of developers in Phoenix, offered them thousands of dollars for their time. Most people didn't even take the money and they'd still meet with me.
Well, that was the first thing he did. He goes, let's take care of this right now. He hands me the check back right at Houston's. I said, absolutely not, sir. I will never take it. He goes, cool, I'm going to frame it and put it on my wall. I said, wonderful. I don't care what you do. I'm not here for that. And he's like, what are you here for? I go, I just want to sit across from the best and see what it's like. Like, see, can I do it? Do I have? And I mean, he put me in the master. Like this guy just did everything. It was so cool. So as we're wrapping up here, I want to do some rapid fire here with you.
Yeah.
Talk to the audience. What are some of the best books that impacted your life?
The best books. So I'm really into psychology and like really into like why we do what we do. One of the best books is on identity. Identity is the strongest force in the human psychology. It's the need to stay aligned with what we believe we are. And so like my beliefs about wealth were off. They were completely wrong because I learned them from people who weren't. And so Psycho-Cybernetics is a really good book.
That's a great
on that. Yep. Some books on, psychology of money. I really like that book. That's a great book.
Morgan Housel. And did you read a second one, Same as Ever?
I did not know.
Oh, you got you will. So they always ask, Jeff Bezos, what's going to be different in 5 years? And he goes, I get that question everywhere I go. He goes, it's actually not the best question. The best question is what will be the same in 5 years.
That's good.
And so what are the life principles that'll be the same? And one of the ideas in there that impacted my life just dramatically was there's a right size to everything. So there's a right size to the amount of time you spend with your wife. There's a right size to that relationship. People say, oh no, more's better. Not true. I love my wife. I actually could spend every waking hour with my wife. My wife could not spend every waking hour with me because I'm a lot. I'm a lot. There's a right size to the relationship, the relationship with my kids, right? Now let's go to your business. Single family rentals. Why did I not like having 120? Because that's not the right size. The right size is what you can actually, with property managers, oversee yourself without leverage. Because as you add leverage, it gets really hard on the returns unless you scale up to thousands or whatever. So there's a right size. There's a right size to your team size if you want to stay in Lake Havasu or whatever, there's a right. You can't have 5,000 agents in Lake Havasu. That's just not a thing, right? It's just not. No. So there's there's an optimal size, right? Yeah. And so I think about all the time, anytime I'm having friction in some area, I'm like, am I just not like focused on the right size of that particular thing at this moment? But anyway, that book, Same as Ever. So anyone, what other books?
I love it. The number one book that like changed my life was honestly because I saw him on TV all the time, and like I was in a really dark place, and when I was 25, was Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins,
So good.
which taught you values. Like it taught you values. It taught you human needs. It taught you he's big on NLP. So that was a really, really good book. I read every year, Brett. I mean, I read 48 Laws of Power every year, Brett.
It's
The rule number one when it came to influence,
rule number one: never outshine the master.
that is like that. I have raised more money off of that rule. Like the person in the theater, it's not the lead. It's the guy with the spotlight. And so that book I read a lot of Robert Greene. To be honest, more anymore, unless someone like you and it gives me a book or Mark gives me a book, I tend to reread those books a lot.
You know what I'm into right now? I'll tell you, I read a lot of biographies now, autobiographies. I'm deep into that journey. Like, I think the stuff by Isaacson. So he did one on Elon Musk, one on Steve Jobs. There's a great book. I think it's called Hardwired on Bill Gates. Like, I go back and I want to know what those guys were doing. Right. Mm-hmm. What were, like, I read, I'll say one of the greats. It's not an easy read. I mean, it's long. It's not complicated. Snowball, Warren Buffett. If you read about, I bought every book on Buffett and Munger. Like, there's like 20, 25 total. Read them all. So I want to understand the greatest investor of our time. And you know what's crazy, Dustin, is you get into reading, you're like, this guy was looking at investing in a stock. You know what he would do? If he was going to make a significant, he would fly to the company. Hey, can I meet with you guys? Meet your management, see what you got. He just wanted to like dig in. Like he was going, the part of the story, like, oh, he never left Omaha. That's total bullshit. Early on, that guy was getting on planes, going to places, figuring things out. So like, then I'll be talking to someone that I'm coaching and I'll say, hey, well, when was the last, you got a problem on your property that's in, wherever. When was the last time you flew out there? Well, I'm not going to go out there. I have a property manager. I'm like, So Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people ever, was willing to get on a plane and go wherever. You're not there. And you've got all these things in your way of success. So just, when I read those biographies, I look like, man, the guys that are and girls that are super achieving in this world are playing a totally different game. And they're not making excuses for getting on planes or paying a price.
So true. We sat down with some of the largest developers in the country, and I asked, how do you find the locations? Like, what data do you pull? Because it seems like something's missing. And the thing that was missing, what they do before they go into a new city, a new area, they fly and they live there for 3 weeks. They go to the bars, they go to the restaurants, they meet with the city council. They live in the city for I go, that's what we're missing. Like that's it.
Isn't it? But you know this they're doing, but they're doing the thing. The thing for them was, how can I make a massive investment in another city or town or county? What would give me more knowledge than anything else? What's the one thing? I got to go live there and be a part of it.
Yeah.
So give me, I want to switch to habits. What are some of, for people that are watching this or listening to it, what are some of the habits that have had the greatest impact on your life?
Greatest impact on my health has been, I only eat once a day and I eat at night. So that's one habit that's just been good for me because I'm not very disciplined. It was something my weight would go up and down. So I've kept it off for 5 years. And so that's one habit that I have, in my life. I try to keep, I'm very, very, very simplistic. So like I have a habit of less is more. So if I get something or I have something, my habit is if I can't pay other people to take care of it, so I don't ever have to worry about it, I don't do it or I don't purchase it. I don't add more chaos to my life that is unneeded. I always want the chaos. If I add any chaos to my life, it better have a good ROI. So I'm always thinking in ROIs. Come to the office every day is a big habit. You're going to see this in my habits of like, they're very simple. Like I come to the office every single day and I work in the office every single day. I prioritize fun. So that's a big thing. Once a week, I go have fun. So whether that's golfing, whether it's hanging out with the buddies, whether it's like we go do stuff. I'm out of town. I try to leave. We do one night quick little jolts to Flagstaff or Scottsdale or to Vegas, fly over there and back real quick with my wife. So I prioritize fun. That's a big habit. I date my wife twice a week. When you said there's too much time together, I work a lot. So I prioritize two nights a week. I have other rules inside that relationship, but other habits. I mean, I have like business habits where I meet with administration a certain amount of times. I check accounts a certain amount of times. I wake up and check my bank account every morning. I didn't do that when I wasn't disciplined.
By the way, when people tell me they have money problems, I tell them, the first thing I tell them to do, just log into every bank account you have every day.
Yeah.
And you don't need to spend a lot of time. Just look at yesterday's charges. And then just look at that. And then you can ask yourself, well, are those decisions leading me to the life that I wanted? Yes or no? Just that awareness, right? That awareness going, you know what? I'm going to skip the Starbucks or whatever. Like there was a moment in my life where I was driving, the line at Starbucks to get a coffee. And, I was on the phone, I'm doing stuff, but I started looking and going, what is this habit serving? I can make great coffee at home and I get the time back and it's not annoying. And so like for me, it's all about, I'm going to optimize time and remove roadblocks and it's going to be the most efficient. Like I don't go to stores to shop for things. Why? Because if anyone's been to a store where you go and they're like, oh, do you have this in a size 11? No, we don't have 11. I just waste it. So now what I do, if I want to buy like a new pair of shoes, and this is crazy, I just buy 12, I order them in, try what I want, and then send back, it's all free return. So I just get what I wanted, delivered to my home. It's the most efficient thing ever, right? Like I actually don't go into stores. Like my wife loves to go in stores. Now, if we're going to go and she wants to do it, it's our time together, I'll do whatever she wants to do. Me personally, if I never went in another store again, I have no desire. Like I don't need to do that because I don't find that to be efficient and I don't find great joy in that. So but when you hear people's habits, like you have rules, like you said, rules around your relationship, your money, your business, your staff, your leaders. Every successful person I know has built mental models around every aspect of their life that mattered.
Even if they're unconscious of it, they have it. And so that's where I've like tried to strip away from, asking questions from guys like you and people. But, optimizing time and removing roadblocks you said it better. You said it better than I did. That is my number one goal with everything that I do. Like I pay a car to drive me to Vegas. I don't want to drive and I can work in the back and I have, it's like, I'm with my wife and we get to talk or whatever. So like, whatever makes something easier for me or more convenient, because I'm doing inside of my business, inconvenience doesn't pay in your personal life. It does in business. So I will be inconvenienced in my business as long as it has an ROI so I can be convenienced in my life.
It is so good because the inconvenience in your business likely is the opportunity.
Yes.
The inconvenience in your personal life is the thing that's dragging you backward. And
so good.
When I it's fun. Like I coach people, and I'm curious your perspective on this. People think I'm this like business strategist, and they say all these really nice things. What's funny? What I do with a person when I first start coaching them is I just fix their personal life, and then their business, Dustin, goes like this. It thrives. It goes like I coach someone she'll remain nameless here. And she gives me all this credit for this massive success she had. And I said, you do realize all I did is I helped you hire a nanny and I helped fix your personal life a little bit. By the way, not the nanny to be with her kids, the nanny to go in and do the things that was giving her guilt, like have the meal ready to go so you pop it in the oven, have the house all clean and put away, have the laundry. There's no honor in doing laundry. There's none. Like you said, people justify like, I do the laundry. Why? Not that they're super, that's not a thing to be proud of. So she crushed it. I said, the truth is I fixed your personal life and gave you some leverage and removed some guilt. And then your business skyrocketed. I didn't really, I was a sounding board. But so I go into people, I find that if you fix their personal lives and their business life, they're going to track. And if their personal life's in shambles, I don't care how many hours they put in at the office. You might get some victories and you can still win with hours. But ultimately, your business life will have the same chaos. And so it starts fix home, fix your personal life, and then your business can thrive. And do you feel like as a coach, aren't you fixing their personal life?
There's no such thing as a business problem. There's just personal problems that affect business, period, in the story. And so that's it. And I will tell you this little trick, and that I love that you announced that publicly, that you work on the personal life. Here's the thing. Until people realize that this coaching world, there's a lot of coaches out there. It's funny because What people want to buy is how-tos. But as how-tos worked, you'd already have the result. Because on this podcast, if you're listening, there's things you already know you need to be doing that you're just avoiding. So you know how to do them, but you're not doing them. I always say people try to chase and buy how-tos when they really need to surrender to the fix-use. You need to fix use discipline. You need to fix use money. You need to fix use relationship at home. You need to fix use, leverage. And then the other thing that you do, that you did there, which is awesome, is from someone like you, and you have this power because you're there and you're admired and you're a leader and you're looked upon. But sometimes some people just need permission. Mm-hmm. Like they need permission to know it's okay to hire the nanny, right? Because 99% of the other people are judging them. And here's an important thing to hear. 99% of people are going to judge you, but guess what? You want to be part of the 1% or the 0.01%. So you have to realize you're going to have different beliefs than 99.9% of the people out there. Different set of beliefs. And this is when I realized this was like Mark, again, my mentor. He has beliefs that like the average person, it's like shocking. Like I'll give you one and he would be okay with this. He doesn't believe family first. Like that's not his belief. He goes, that's what a bunch of rich people say that don't actually do it. If you look at their behavior, it's mission first because they know the mission serves the whole. Mm-hmm. And so he's mission first. He goes, then I'm second. And then my family's third. He's like, because if I don't prioritize the mission, like I have to come and I have to be the best version of myself. And so this is shocking to people when they hear these things. But guess what? He's in the 0.00001%, So anyways, you got to be willing to be in that.
The critics would say, oh, I can't believe you didn't say family first. But to your point, the people that are sometimes saying the thing aren't the ones actually doing it. Like I had a friend / acquaintance who, came to me for help and wanted to help fix her marriage. And I gave her some tools to do that. And it's interesting now, 5 weeks later, she's going to teach a marriage class on I saw it all over social media and I went, this is where I struggle, right? 5 weeks ago, you were on the edge of going to divorce. Now, maybe you fixed it all in 4 weeks. I just don't think you have. Or there's the person who they had flipped out one house and successful and now they're going to coach on it. It just, it's interesting. It's you and I are truth tellers in a fake world. And that's what I tell people, I'm a truth. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I'm only going to sell someone themselves, right? I believe in other people so much and I want so much for them that I'm not willing to let them get away with an excuse. And that's what people say in coaching, man, you're a tough coach. I'm not a tough coach. I just ask what you want out of your life. We establish goals. We come with a way to measure it and I just hold you to it. Any day you want to lower the goal, we can change the pressure. It's up to you. Right, you're picking the goals. I'm there to spot blind spots and hold you to it. So I want to go to last thing I want to ask you. You're talking to Dustin at 21 years old, or you can go back to any of that version where you were making those wrong decisions. You're doing the wrong. What do you say? You're like, you get 60 seconds max to talk to 21-year-old Dustin.
So if I'm 21 years old. And this is what I tell every 21-year-old to do is what you did. I'm going to say, number one, save your effing money. Save your money. Do not buy dumb shit. Do not try to buy things to impress people, period, end of story. And get that active income up as much as you possibly can and work harder than anyone. The only way you're going to get respect from real winners, Dustin, is by outworking them, period. Number two, stay away from women. Stay away from girls. Quit chasing girls. There's no reason to chase girls. It ain't gonna end. It ain't. That is not what's gonna fulfill you in life. Is chasing that. That's a drug. I would say wait till you're 30 to meet somebody because then you'll know who you are and what you value, right? And then third thing, stay away from drugs and alcohol.
I love it.
You get your active income up. You don't spend your money and you save it. You stay away from girls and you stay away from drugs and alcohol, you are going to crush. Basically what you did in your 20s.
I'll tell you that to anchor in your point, there was a moment, so I was in college and I went to this party. This was like a transformational moment in my life. And I was at a party. I joined a fraternity my first year and I go to this party. There was a guy that's 27 years old in the room. And I go, dude, what are you doing here? Because I'm 19. Oh, dude, I'm about to get my degree next year. I said, was a doctor or is it multiple? Like, was what? He's like, oh, I'm about to get my bachelor. I go, how long you been doing this, bud? And in that moment I went, I wonder if people get trapped and just wake up 8 years in the future on the road that leads nowhere.
I do.
Then I looked at my friends at that point. I'm like, what were they doing? They're doing the same thing you said, chasing girls, going. And I went, I don't really want those things, man. I want to crush it. So I went to my friends. This is literally at 20 or 19 years old. Said, guys, you're just not going to see me as much. I'm just going on a different journey. I'm going to put in I believe I can be a difference. I believe in me. I'm going to start hustling. And
where do you think that came from?
From me, I'll tell you. So I was not a competitive person. I was that person in my whole high school. I wasn't ranked in the top. I graduated in a town where public high school, Porras County, state of Colorado. 17 people in my high school graduating class. I was not in the top 5 of 17. I was not competitive. I set the bench in basketball. I would refuse to try. They were, when my family started to have a little bit of money, the town judged you, treated you like crap. So I had this my method of success. My parents were abundant thinkers, but because we had a little more, we didn't even have like nothing like the money you and I are talking about. We just had more than the other people. So they would judge it. And so I had this, I didn't want to compete and achieve to be judged more. So then I go to college and first of all, I'm not smart. The education I had, I didn't apply myself anything. So I get to college and I'm not really good at academics. And I'd never really applied myself because I didn't want to be. Then I show up at college and these people have nice cars. These people were way more successful than we were. So that I could achieve and it wasn't going to be a thing. And I snapped. I was like, you know what? I don't care. From now on, I'm going to compete. I'm going to try to rip people. Like if I'm playing golf against someone, I'm going to crush them. I don't want them to screw up. I want to beat them on their very best day, and I'm not going to be weird about it. But I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna do everything I can to win. So I just snapped, and that was the moment. And I was like, never again. I'll never play for less. I'll always play for more. And so that was the moment. I just changed my whole behavior, and I realized though, I could take the path that these other people, but there was no positive things that were going to come up. They were going to be the 28-year-old guy in the party. And so I realized, to be the best, I was going to have to take different decisions. And so they were like, dude, you think you're too cool and all that stuff. And I made a comment. I said, I think 10 years from now, let's check in and see where our lives shake out. And
it's so good.
And 10 years later, we checked in and they were still going to the bars and chasing the girl.
Yeah.
And they go, dude, how's it going for you? I'm like, I'm in the top of my profession, right? One of the top real estate agents, in the country. So that just became, and I told him, I said, in 20 years, you guys won't even fathom what occurred. And I remember early on my wife, because we were like 8 years in that journey, and she's like, how come all of our friends live so much better than we do? And I go, oh, because they're going nowhere. They're buying crap. Right. They're just buying cars. They've got cars and crap and way nicer houses than us. I had a shitty house, 2 shitty cars, but I was buying, with all my money, I was buying real estate. I didn't own any crap. I owned lots and lots of real estate. So then they go, Brett, when did it happen? When did you go, here? I go, oh, it happened 20 years ago, dude. Like I did it 20 years. So you could start your journey today. You're just 20 years out.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And I love what you said. Why do you think it's important to understand, to think in decades? Like, why do you think that's important?
You need a longer horizon, and because it takes out the short term, it eliminates the easy, it forces you to be more strategic. I don't know a single successful person that they think in decades, not days, right? Mm-hmm. Decades give you, number one, it gives you time. You have more time than you think. You can also set the goal stratospherically higher because I've got time now. If I set a 1 month goal, I can make it big, but I can't make it insane. I could set a goal for 10 years that just baffles people's minds, and I could achieve it. So for me, my answer would be that I have to think longer term. It forces me to be more strategic, forces me to operate on a different level than everyone else. It eliminates, because everyone else is thinking in days. And so I've just changed that perspective. What's your answer to it?
No, it's just really good. Again, everyone I get around, they think macro, not micro. Mine is it literally allows you to go bigger, and the bigger you go, the less competition you have, and so it eliminates the competition. One, two, I think for me, I've surrendered. Like I know I'm going to get there. Like it's like a resolve. Like I know it's there. I just got to just do. If I do this every day for 10 years, it's game over. Like it's like I do sometimes think a little bit of like that saying of like what got you there won't get you there. I sometimes think that what got you there will get you there, and I know you have to change some things, but yeah.
No, what got you there will get you there, provided they're doing what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Not 10 years of doing whatever, 10 years of doing what you're doing, and that speech you gave your 21-year-old self, no doubt every time it delivers. Absolutely.
It delivers. Yeah. And like you and I beliefs on this, and I've gotten these just through osmosis, right? This is obviously something you've studied and you're very articulate with it, and you're able to communicate it at a very high level, and you're an incredible educator, and you obviously have the decades and decades of receipts, right? Which is the thing that you want to look for if you're going to take somebody's advice, for those who are listening, is receipts. But there's so many similarities in people that are. One thing that I look at too, Brett, and you can feel it in you and with your family and your kids, is I also want to take advice from somebody who is emotionally fit. So not someone who's just rich, but they're emotionally fit, and their relationships inside of their business or inside of their life are powerful. So give you an example. There's so many people I've met that are wealthy and alone. And what I mean by that is because they have no friendships. They got their like the narcissistic approach, which works in business. But that you have a great relationship with your kids and a great relationship with your family, and you have great friends, and you have great people, and you have a great community. That's really important when you're taking advice from people. And so much respect to you and everything that you've done, dude. I've watched you for literally decades, man, and you're a savage, bro. And what's so crazy is most people only have about a decade in them. And it's the killers, like the savages like yourself, man. You just haven't slowed down or haven't stopped. It's badass. I love it.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm 2.5 decades in, and I will tell you, I really feel like I'm in the second inning, third inning. I've definitely got there's a little more tread left on this tire for the next round. Before we wrap, man, if people want to connect more with you, which they need to number one, follow you everywhere. They need to hear your message because it's real and it's raw and it's what they need to hear. Where do people connect with you and get more Dustin?
Yeah, just follow me on Facebook or Instagram. Shoot me a message. Anything I can do to help, I'm always here to help and to contribute. That's one thing. Like Brett, we started this, and before he hit record, Brett's like, I just do this to bring value and to contribute. And that's what I found with like real winners is like, there's just a spirit of contribution that they want to contribute. They want to make the lives of other people better. And so that's all I'm looking to do too. So just follow me or DustinRunyon.com. Shoot me a message on there.
Brother, this has been incredible. We've got over an hour and a half here, and I could have gone 5 more hours peppering you. It's so incredible to see real people, right? Real people that have the receipts, as you said, of success. Thanks for all you're doing, man. Keep crushing it. Love your mission. Thank you, brother. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Brett.